Alright, we're looking at the saw bracket, and we're going to start off by getting the bottom brick. And that bottom brick is 5.5 wide, 3 1/4 tall, and 2 1/4 to the right. So again, we got 5.5, 3 1/4, and 2 1/4, and we're going to start off by drawing that bottom brick. So as we're looking at that, I'm going to start off by drawing a line. I'm going to start somewhere in the bottom right hand corner. I'm going to come over at 2 1/4, make my mark. I'm going to come straight up in the air at each one of these corners. How far am I coming up? 3/4. So there's kind of like my right side. I'll flip the triangle around. I'm going to come back at 5.5, but I'm just going to draw in 2 lines. Come back at 5.5. Each corner is a straight up and down corner, so I'll draw that straight up in the air. I'll go ahead and finish out the bottom brick. And there's my bottom brick. What I'm going to get next is this block right here that is centered on the piece. It is 2 inches tall from the bottom of the part. It is out 2 inches, but it's also centered off of this back part. So we got to center this piece, and we're going to draw it up 2 and out 2 to make it 3/4. So the first thing I'm going to do is, it's 2 1/4 wide. So if it's 2 1/4 wide, half of 2 1/4 is 1 1/8. I'm going to put a little small dot there at 1 1/8. The block itself was 3/4 of an inch wide. What is half of 3/4? You double the bottom number. It is 3/8. So I'm going to come over 1 2 3/8, 1 2 3/8, and that's going to give me the outline of that block. How far do I got to come out? It was 2 inches. So I've got the overall outline shape of my box, and I need to bring it up that distance. It was 2 inches tall from the bottom of the piece. So if it's 2 inches from the bottom, I got to subtract the 3/4, so it's really only going to be 1 1/4 tall from these points. So I'm going to measure up 1 1/4. Go ahead and come up 1 1/4 with each one of these parts. So I got my measurements on there. Now that I've got it, I can just run this one around. Erase out what you don't see there. And that's kind of like the overall shape and size of the top bracket part of it. Alright, now what we've got though is we got to get this point. And the point's probably the hardest part of the drawing. We've got these little 1/4 inch flats here and here. But more importantly, we don't know where to put this angle going back at. It says 30-degree angle. And yes, we have a 30-60-degree triangle, but we can't draw it that way. We've actually got to know what the measurement between this point and the midpoint of this part is. So we need to figure out what that measurement is so we can transfer that measurement back in order to draw our line. So we've got to redraw this top portion here to get that measurement back. So what we're going to do is, anywhere on your paper, we're just going to redraw that portion of it. I'm going to draw my line in here. The part itself is 2 1/4 wide, so I'm going to make my marks at 2 1/4. I've got 1/4 of an inch flat and 1/4 of an inch flat. So in essence, here's my part. Half of 2 1/4 is 1 1/8. So I'm going to go 1, and I'm going to put a longer line there just so I know where it's the 1 1/8. And then I'm going to draw the line back. This is a 30-degree angle. So you got a 30-degree triangle. I'm going to lay it down so my point is touching the line, and my arrow, or the 30-degree angle, is touching each one of my 1/4 inch lines. In essence, I'm actually right on perfect with the edge of my paper. I could have put it in a different spot. But there's my, if we're looking at what we're seeing from the bottom view, here's my top view redrawn. You don't have to necessarily erase all this. I'm just trying to get you to see. I'm trying to get what this measurement is right there. Whatever that measurement is, then I'll be able to transfer that up to this one here. So that measurement happens to be, it's 3 1/4 is what it is. I'm off the page a little bit. So if I know that measurement back from that part is 3 1/4, so now I got to put that measurement up here on my point. So the first thing I need to do is get my 1/4 inch flats. 1/4 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch. I can come in my 1 1/8 and leave a mark as well. So there's my 1/4 inch flat. There's my 1/4 inch flat. Now from this midpoint I can draw a light line back because I'm going to erase it. It comes back at whatever measurement this was over here, which is 3 1/4. And now no particular angle, no particular measurement. I'm just going to draw my line from this 3 1/4 point to my edge over here, and from my 3 1/4 point to my line right here. Now that's my point. I can erase out my what I don't need. Now what I got to show though is this inside face right here of this little leg here. So if the part itself is 3/4 of an inch thick, I can come over here and I'm going to draw a really light line. Put a 3/4 of an inch line down. So now I can draw a line from this point to the bottom of this edge over here, and that shows you that thickness in that area. So again, the biggest deal to this one is, in order to get the actual angle going back to this part, you have to draw the top view to get this measurement right here. And I expect to see this on your drawing. If I don't see it on your drawing, then I know you got the measurement from somebody else or you didn't do it correctly. So anytime that we have an angle, we have to draw the top view to get that measurement to be able to place it on our drawing back. That is the saw bracket.